So in the quick and dirty series of videos that I'm doing, I want to show you today a couple tricks to help the garter tab look more beautiful. This is a garter tab beginning that is at a lot of used on a lot of top-down shawls, and you've got this little 3 garter stitches that go all the way around and they join and go up the other side. There's one example. Here is another one done a different way. So the 3 garter stitches are relatively unbroken. So the first thing you want to do is cast on 3 stitches, and you want to use as little bulk in the cast on as possible. I tend to either use a provisional cast on when I'm being really picky, or just doing 3 little backwards loops and using that as my cast on. So now you have to knit, the directions will probably tell you to cast on 3 and knit several rows or ridges, depending on how they talk about it. So if it says rows, it might say 8. If it says, then that would be 4 ridges. So I'm going to cut and do that, and we'll come back when I've got my 4 ridges. So I've got 4 ridges done here. A ridge is where you see the purl blips. 1, 2, 3, 4. And if you're not sure which side is the side that you want, look at it very carefully, because actually this side also has 4 ridges, but this is the side I want. And the way that I know that is, with garter stitch, there's a row of ridges and then there's a valley, and a ridge and a valley. And we're going to be picking up along this edge, and then we're going to pick up 3 stitches in there, and because we're knitting up those stitches, that's going to create the valley, so we want to put the valley where there is already a valley. So I'm going to knit up, because it's 4 ridges, I'm going to knit up 4 stitches. Now where I like to knit up, you could go in right there and just grab that one strand and knit a hole there. And if you're doing something lacy, that's fine, but that does leave, it exaggerates that little hole. It does leave a little hole. So when I pick up along the edge of garter stitch, I like to go in right in underneath the knot. So that's what I'm calling the knot, that little purl lip. So I'm picking up 1 underneath the knot there, and then 1 underneath the knot there. And that is a stitch. It's just a stitch that has 2 pieces of yarn outside of it instead of 1. So there is number 3. I can't count. And there is number 4. So I've got my 3 that were on the edge, and now I've picked up 4 along this side piece. And now I need to pick up 3 along this edge. Now if you know what stitches look like, you know that 3 stitches going up, going the other direction, there will be 2 stitches and a half on this end and a half on this end. So this is not a precise science, because you don't actually have 3 whole stitches to go into. So I'm going to ignore that little bit that's the cast on edge. I'm going to go into that stitch, knit up 1. I'm going to go into the next stitch and knit up 1. And now there isn't another whole stitch left, but there is a nice half stitch. So I'm just going to go into that half and knit that one up and pretend that it's a whole stitch. So now I've got my 3 garter stitches there, and the center ones will be whatever my pattern is.
Brought to you by Knit Circus.